So to really bring this uplift forward, because again, we could talk about a dystopian future, or we could actually talk about what will it take to create this uplift for humanity. It seems to me we really do need new tools, new skills, new ways to perceive things, maybe a higher level of being able to see the whole, to activate multiple simultaneous layers and multiple simultaneous possibilities. It seems to me that there is a mindset change, there is new skills. We can talk about that a little later. One of the things that I have heard you say, and as we've looked at things together, the layers of civilization that we just spoke to are a map, or have a map, for what it means to be a high-functioning adult in our culture. However, you could say that that map for what it is to live in each layer of our civilization has been concretized over time. This is the way you have to do it. If you don't do it this way, then you will get to wherever. You're a good person or a bad person. It's the right thing or the wrong thing. And it seems to me that's the concretization that's happened, that's now not helping us. As we move through this time of rapid acceleration and change and transformation, we might find our maps are actually being challenged. And so as we're moving in this accelerated way, it seems like we need to have maps, but how do we have maps of the unknown, and how do we do this?
I think a first step is to move from maps as noun to maps as verb.
Mm.
Maps as noun means the map is the thing, and it's concretized the landscape.
Yep.
It's a two-dimensional or maybe even three-dimensional map of the situation, but it means like this is it. Where maps as verb is saying that whatever the maps we are in this rapidly changing world, it's ongoingly morphing and changing as we're mapping. So it's map as verb, it's mapping.
Mm-hmm.
So then how are we present to mapping in the way? And I think the phenomena of the open desert, what's called the absolute desert, it kind of gives us an indication that countries with vast stretches of absolute desert, for the most part, decline to make paved roads because all the money that would go into a paved road they might find that road is covered by the desert within weeks or months. And as the sand dunes move, the road goes away.
Yeah.
And what do you use to navigate the open desert? And that would be more like a compass, if you will. So that we find GPS perhaps, or compasses would say, and the GPS would track us as we're moving, and the compass gives us direction. So what's more helpful then in the open desert where things are constantly shifting is either a compass to give us direction, or a kind of GPS that is mapping second by second where we are relative to where we're moving toward.
Yeah.
So then as we have that, as we're moving, mapping, then we can respond to the great uplift relative to this exponentially changing landscape we find ourselves in, where you have multiple levels changing simultaneously.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the biggest things that we expect to have is a map that can show us where to go, and spending time looking for the answer in the map as opposed to mapping a direction. Mapping a direction that can shift and change according to the constantly shifting landscape that we live in. It seems to me that we need also to be present in a different way with things constantly shifting and constantly moving. When we're focused on what's the map, how do I get through this? You're saying mapping will be more important. And it seems like then how we sense, how we know where to go with a compass, seems like that's changing as well. Like we need some updated skills about that.
Well, one of the ways of up leveling that way of sensing is what we've called brailing.
Yeah.
It's just indicated that whether you're a sighted person training yourself to read Braille, or whether you now are learning, especially if you're a sighted person learning to read Braille, you now have to consciously transfer the place you're focusing on,
yeah,
from your eyes to your fingertips.
Yeah.
So that's just a metaphor for saying shifting the way we're sensing so that we're including more and more of our senses and from a different place of focus.
So that has us be able to sense both with mapping and using a compass. Are we on path or off path? Um, it seems to me also then, as things change in orders of magnitude and as we look at new layers of civilization and the ecosystems constantly evolving, it seems to me that we need to know something about, as the world moves faster and there's more interconnection, and when it moves to the next level, it seems to me that we still, according to our maps, expect it to be the same. Can you say a little bit about that? Scale confusion, I think, is
One way of talking about scale confusion is that we expect as we move to new orders of magnitude that the rules stay the same. And at every new order of magnitude, um, cosmology tells us that at every order of magnitude, the rules change.
yeah,
And from the various largest thing in the universe to the very smallest things in the universe, humanity is somewhere right in the middle.
hmm,
And that as we see what happens in the cosmos and as we explore the micro worlds, we've seen over and over that at every order of magnitude, the worlds change drastically.
hmm,
But then as we map and as we call to be present to mapping, to the ever morphing, changing, we also need to be present to scale confusion so that we don't expect that at each order of magnitude, at each new level, or in the new world that we find ourselves in, we can be present to that we don't get fooled by scale confusion and our first place of presence into it's a new world. So what are the rules now in this world?
yeah,
And how do I adapt the map of my culture
yeah,
in the way that there might be a scale confusion between my culture and the world I find myself in? And how do I elegantly factor that into the way I'm ongoingly morphing and changing the way I'm mapping how I presence the world?
yeah. We are the HuPerson Project. This is the WYRK work to be done. Come join us. Let's have a conversation.